through this, my lord. Yes. Now, my lord, kindly come to page 615. My lord, para 54, which is relevant to your lordship's my lord summary this morning. The right to establish an education institution can be regulated. Such regulatory measures must in general be to ensure the maintenance and proper academic standards, atmosphere, infrastructure, including qualified staff, and the prevention of maladministration by those in charge of the management. The fixing of a rigid fee structure dictating the formation of composition of a governing body, compulsory nomination of teachers and staff for appointment for admissions would be unacceptable restrictions. So, my lord, the general law will lie. The moment you intrude, my lord, that's why the balance is upset. Yes. Now, my lord, kindly come to 621. My lord, just above para 71, at placetum D, it has been held that the conditions for affiliation or recognition which pertain to the academic and educational character of the institution and ensure uniformity, efficiency, and excellence in educational courses are valid. But they do not violate even the provision of Article 30. But conditions that are laid down for granting recognition should not be such as lead to governmental control. Then, my lord, 622, I briefly, just above paragraph 73. It says at the same time it has to ensure that even an aided institution does not become a government-owned body and controlled institution. Neither aid, normally the aid is granted is relatable to pay and allowances of staff. Indeed, the management of private aid institutions has to incur a revenue. Such aided institution cannot obtain the extent of autonomy in relation to management and administration as would be available to private unaided institutions, but at the same time, it cannot also be treated as an education institution departmentally run by government or as a wholly controlled government institution to interfere with the constitution of the governing body and so on. Now, my lords, page 623. What is a minority, my lord? This has now been settled. It may not be relevant, my lord, for your lordships. That is para 76, my lord. If therefore as your lordship there, yes, the state has to be regarded as the unit for determining linguistic minority vis-a-vis 30, then with the religious minority being on the same footing, it is the state in relation to the majority that will have to be determined. On page 624, at para 79, this is affirmed. There can be therefore little doubt that this court has consistently held that with regard to a state law, the unit to determine a religious and linguistic minority can only be the state. Of course, we prefer, my lord, Justice Uma Pal's decision, which says it depends on the statute. Now, my lords, 85, my lord, on page 625. As I'd argued before another bench, my lord, that although basic structure applies to constitutional amendments, after Bomai, you take some aspects into account while interpreting the provision. So, my lord, 85, secularism being one of the important basic structures of our constitution. Article 27 provides that no person shall be compelled to pay any taxes, proceeds of which are specifically appropriated for the payment of expenses. My lord, I forgot to mention one other aspect, my lord. Is this about? Well, I forgot to mention one thing, but may I do it now? No? Because secularism is an important part of this judgment. And there are very eloquent provisions, my lord, statements at the end. My lord, may I take your lordships back, my lord, to page 616, para 57? I'll just summarize it as your lordship got it, my lord. It says that charitable institutions can't be run for profit. And at the bottom of that, my lord, There can, however, be a reasonable revenue surplus which may be generated by the education institution for the purposes of development of education and expansion of the institution. You claim minority status, you become charitable, you can't be a profit-making institution. Now, my lord, I was in para 85. Now may I come to para 89?
Dr. Rawat, can you just repeat the sentence which you said just now?
My lord, what this court says, if you are a charitable institution, which you would be under Article 30, you are not institutions of profit. You have a revenue surplus, you expand your institutions, but they're not profiting making. And this was a concern, my lord, arising out of litigation.
Was this said in context of Article 26 or Article 30?
30. It would apply to 26 as well.
It will apply to 26 as well, because 26 uses the expression for religious or charitable purposes.
That's. I want to flag this, my lord, because this is something that the minority institutions must accept. Education has become a profit-making exercise. This court says, claim charity, you are not. And we accept that. Now, my lord, may I come to 85, which I've read. Secularism, I'm sorry, your lordship on 85?
Yes, you got it.
Your lordships are whiz kids, my lord. Your lordship can go from one to the other. Secularism being one of the important basic features of our constitution, Article 27 provides that no person should be compelled to pay any taxes, proceeds of which are specifically appropriated for the payment of expenses for the promotion and maintenance of any particular religion or religious domination. Now, my lord, what it says about 29 and 30, page 626, paragraph 89. So, my lord, it says Article 29 and 30 are a group of articles relating to the cultural and educational rights, and then it analyzes what 70 does and 30 does. Then, my lord, a very important aspect in para 93 at page 627.
Actually, see, para 91, that makes the distinction between Article 26 and 30
That's right.
here.
That's right. And it says it applies also to majority institutions, 26. I should have placed that.
Dr. Rawat, therefore, you're arguing that to get protection under Article 30, the institution must be run as a charitable institution.
That's right. And that's laid down.
No, I'm just asking as,
Yes.
as a matter of.
That is the majority judgment.
That will be the third exception which you have required.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And an 11 judge bench majority says so, Lord. Who am I to say anything else? And it's all subject to reasonable restriction. That your lordship will bear in mind. Now, my lord, may I come to para 93, my lord. Can Article 30, I'm sorry,
Yes.
can Article 31 be so read as to maintain that it contains an absolute rights of minorities, whether based on religion or language, to establish and administer educational institutions in the manner they desire without being obliged to provisions of any law? So this, my lord, is elaborated